Morning. How's everyone doing today? It is Friday, end of the week. Starting to get a little bit of spring weather here. Hopefully, you're getting some nice weather where you are, and can end the week on a positive note. You know who's not ending the week on a positive note is Facebook. What a train wreck, dumpster fire combo. I don't even know. And I don't really want to talk about Facebook today, even though they are all over the news, scrambling, trying to recover from this Cambridge Analytica scam that sort of pulled away the layers so that you understand their business model and the motivators. But I will say this: I read a really great op-ed by Tim Wu. He published it in the New York Times, and essentially it was, look at it was calling out the business model and look at how the business model drives results. And I know running a page on Facebook, you definitely see that where it's a constant push to boost things, to advertise on the platform, and of course, if you're spending money to advertise on the platform and boost your page, your content, you're going to want to see results. So it's sort of that feedback loop that really pushes things through. But I don't want to talk about that in depth. What I do want to talk about is actually live streaming, like we're doing now. I've been thinking about it a lot. As I said yesterday, I'm thinking about maybe pivoting the show a little bit to be more of sort of like a daily roundup of some issues to kind of up level some stuff to say like, hey, this happened, this happened, this happened. Here's what it means in the bigger picture. Not sure, still kind of playing around with that. But of course, being a nerd, I kind of went towards the technology side. And right now, I switched from streaming to Facebook to streaming to YouTube. And most of the time I stream from my Mac. If I'm not streaming from my Mac, I have a Mevo Pro camera, which is a fantastic little mobile camera. Great on the Go Suite, not at all, disappointed in the V2 of that thing. It's great. But when I'm here on my Mac, I've got a bunch of different options. Now, normally I used to use a software suite called Wirecast. It's set up for big time productions. And because of that, it's got a really clunky UI. There's a lot of stuff going on. And then there's an open source alternative called Open Broadcast Studio, which is it's a little bit simpler, but it's not necessarily as stable. I've seen some issues with that. And obviously, if you're live streaming, you don't want any stability issues. So what I ended up doing was actually using this tool from Ecamm called Ecamm Live. Now, Ecamm's just a little software shop. They make some funky stuff like eyeglasses, which help you modify your webcam picture, like zoom in and zoom out and stuff like that. But they make this tool, Ecamm Live, and it's targeted at Facebook Live, and that's what I was using to start with. But you can also send it to a standard RTMP server, which is a streaming server. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm using that on my Mac. That's feeding this to YouTube Live. And then YouTube Live is rebroadcasting out as required. The upside here is that the interface is perfect. It's really set up to be delivering a show from one person really simply, really easily. But of course, there's some very Facebook specific features. But I can have a Skype call and pull that in. I can show you my desktop. I can do any number of things really, really simply and really cleanly. It is really designed with the user, the streamer, in mind. The problem is it can't go to Twitter. It can't go to Twitter because it's got very simple settings. Basically, I'm going in HD or I'm going in not HD, and I can't configure the particulars of the technical aspects of the stream. And Twitter is very, very particular. So, of course, I started looking out at all the other services. There's things like Livestream, which is now part of Vimeo. Cloudflare has something coming. I could homebrew my own. The goal is to be able to use something simple on my desktop that lets me pull in all the different resources on my desktop, like application windows, like multiple. I'm using a separate mic here. I'm using this guy. Can I almost get it there? I'm using my Yeti Pro for microphone. I've got my Brio webcam. I can easily one key switch this to show you another webcam or another video source. There's lots of great flexibility here, but I want to be able to get this out to where the audience is. So whether that's YouTube streaming, whether that's Periscope, whether that's both at the same time, whether that's something completely different. And it turns out it's harder than it looks. And this actually ties to something I was ranting about a bit on Twitter yesterday. I was trying to set up the Periscope, has a button very much like a lot of the other Twitter buttons. And the Periscope button has it where it'll show, Mark NCA, but then it'll flip to red and go live when I'm actually on air, so that people, wherever that button is, you can see that I'm active and going. The problem is that button is 125K in size. Doesn't sound like a lot, Except when you realize that a full page article on my website weighs in at about 25K. So it's a 5x increase to get this one button that just says live. So, and that kind of ties to the streaming platforms as well. There's a bunch of other things that you can do and some ready-made platforms that you can use, but they're weighty or they force you into a certain thing. They're not as slick as I want. I'd like just like a purpose workflow. So I'm going to dig into that today a bit. Maybe there's something I can pull together with some of the great AWS services, or maybe something on the Google platform. I'm not sure. Maybe I just need to get unrealistic expectations out of my head. But it's a fun little project for Friday. Got a bunch of articles that I'm trying to finish off and trying to write and get those out. But in between, if I hit a bit of writer's block, I think I'm going to dive into this because I think it's interesting. I think live streaming is really effective. It ties to this bigger thought about what I want to do with this show. And I think there's a lot of possibilities here. It's an exciting technology. It's an exciting concept, where I can just hit a button and start broadcasting live to any number of people, which is amazing. So most of these streaming services are set up by default to go from my phone, right? I click a button on Periscope and I'm live, which is great if it's just me and broadcasting out. But if I want to pull in other content, or if I want a little higher production value, like using some lights and using some additional microphones, that gets to be a lot harder. So just totally random Friday thought, apparently. So I guess this is, Mornings with Mark, random episode. Hope you guys are set up for a great day. As always, hit me up online at MarkNCA. In the comments down low. Happy to chat, always looking to engage and discuss because I think that's how ideas go forward. If I've missed something on the streaming front, let me know because you can save me some time today. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great Friday and a great weekend, and I will talk to you on Monday.